came into being as a result of a deputation that came to Derby. And before that, I was on a United Mission conference. And Edwin Norton, the Birmingham City Mission, he gave a vision of the need to set up new city missions across the UK. And God spoke to me. And it was through that I began to think this is what I could do. There was a definite need for some form of reaching people who were in desperate need across Derby. And I was offered a butter mountain from the EEC and Meat Mountain. And we set up in the Edel Centre, which today is known as Into. And outside Sainsbury's and Iceland, as it was in those days, we set up a stall. And 1,000 people came in a day to collect tins of meat and butter. And from that developed our Basics Bank and the project to help those in debt. And we began at Junction. We then moved into Chadderston and used St Mark's as a place to invite people to, and it snowballed. And there were many, many people who came, and we helped to help them to overcome the debt that they had. With the workers that I had, we appointed them to churches so that we were reaching the unreached. And we were across the denominations in Derby, Anglican and Nonconformist. And a missionary would work in those churches, sponsored sometimes by the Church of England, as well as by Derby City Mission. And they would spend a year with us, and they would do outreach. They would help the church and train people in the church to do evangelism.
Yeah, I came to Derby in 2008, and the trustees at that time gave me a really very broad remit of renewal and to kind of have a look at what was working well and to kind of boost that and then to sort of really readjust or repurpose some of the mission. So we needed something that was, we needed a new project that was of broader appeal, that was tackling some of the present social issues. And so out of that, and in conjunction with the police, we began to start up Street Pastors. So Street Pastors was probably the very first new project that I began. And that has been extremely successful. It's just celebrating its 10th year, where every Friday and Saturday night throughout the year, Christians are on the streets and are actually out and about sharing the good news of Jesus, as well as caring for people in practical ways. The third thing that happened was moving from Alice Street into Derby's most deprived ward, which was the area where presently Charman Street is. And out of moving to Charman Street, we were able to develop initially our homelessness services quite considerably. So what it started out with, I think Geoff had already started it. Geoff would wander around the streets with a trolley with some sandwiches and hot tea and coffee. And I kind of picked that up, and of course, after a while, within a year or so, I built up, quite extensive relationships with the homeless community. We then opened Ogdenston Road Baptist Church with 4 of us, and the recovery project got born out of that. And so we kind of started working quite extensively with the homeless.
Derby Church's night shelter has continued to grow and to flourish, but it's also enabled us to have an impact in other towns and in other cities, to see night shelters open there as well, which is fantastic. So as well as Derby, we also run one in Chesterfield and Mansfield, looking to work alongside local authorities. Those relationships, those partner relationships with local authorities and other agencies and organisations have expanded and grown as well, which has enabled us to receive further funding for a lot of the work that we're doing, Our Jubilee clinics now, we have 4 which are all really strong in the city and doing a great work tackling debt and benefit advice, and also alongside those the food bank and the provision of food parcels is going really well. Street pastors is still going from strength to strength and operating well, and we're looking to make more of an impact in our nighttime economy as well. We're kind of experimenting with a fairly new project called Yada and just seeing where that takes us, working with young people in the nighttime economy, which is great as well. Our schools work continues, which we've seen all the way through really over the years of Derby City Mission, which is good. And then we're always exploring new things. So at the moment we're delivering a brand new project in the city. It's pretty much actually a brand new project in the country, and it was great that Derby City Mission was approached to handle and take part in this project and help this project. It's a project called Safe Space, 24/7 service helping those who are in trench roof sleepers to rest and recover and get help and support out of that situation, which has only been running a few months, and we've already seen individuals helped out of that, which is fantastic.
I really inherited a very healthy organization, and it was incredible how this massive wave was already permeating the city. And so when I say it's the easiest job I've done, I really mean that, because the foundation was solid, an incredible staff team, and I inherited almost 400 volunteers as well. So what I wanted to do was to move the organization from where it was into what it could be in the future to give glory unto the Lord. And so in the first 2 years, I spent a lot of time trying to define knowing our why. And so in agreement with what Geoff said and what Ali said, I wanted people to know clearly that we're unashamed about our social action, but also we're unashamed about the gospel, preaching the good news of the forgiveness of sins through Jesus Christ our Lord. We had to rewrite our why, and our why is basically we exist to make disciples of every people group in partnership with the churches and other agencies, demonstrating God's love and indeed bringing hope to our city and our county and the surrounding areas. So that was the first thing we worked on with the board and the staff and some key volunteers. The second thing is really knowing our who. And we had to come up with values that really determine how we do business. And so our values are simply spelled life. We want to be a loving community. We want to invest in people, especially the most in need. We want to see people free from addictions, broken relationships, and other things. And indeed, we want to see people empowered. So that we did the kind of first 2 years when I was here. And then the third year, we actually announced what the vision was going forwards. We had a good, fantastic base to build upon. In alignment with what both Geoff and Ali did, we want to eradicate extreme poverty. Nobody in our city, in our county, in the surrounding area, or indeed in our nation should go without food, shelter, or clothing. And nobody should be in any kind of debilitating debt. So we're bent to eradicate extreme poverty. The second part of our vision is really difficult. It's arduous, intensive, it's costly, it's really harder to measure. And that's addressing the causes. So we spent a lot of money doing some research as to why people were most in need, why people were homeless, why people were struggling. And from there, we want to use it as a platform to address the causes, those 5 things I've mentioned. Starting off with really a community hub, which is going to be addressing mental health issues. And with it, start to address broken relationships and addictions. But in the building from day one, we're going to be running Safe Space there as well. And our HQ, now our staff team is almost touching 30, are going to move into this new building. But bottom line is we want to have a sustainable model going forwards. And how do we have a sustainable model? We're looking at social venturing. I think Ali started mentioning that DCM has had a trading arm for quite some time. want to see how we can actually make that work. And also in terms of our fundraising activities, we now have a business plan, we've got a fundraising strategy, we have a team that's excited about actually raising resources for the kingdom, so that actually we'll be here another 30 years, and another 30 years, and another 30 years.